Albert Breer is from SI.com and Monday Morning Quarterback joining us here on the Kaplan J. Hood Morning Show on ESPN 1000 and streaming on the ESPN Chicago app. Albert, we haven't talked to you about Keenan Allen now being a part of the Chicago Bears. I told Cap, I said, I feel like he is going to be a Bear for the minimum of 2 years, and you got to kind of think about your wide receivers of the future. Is that something you talked about the things that the Bears could do in the draft? Does it make sense for them to get a wide receiver at 9, knowing that Allen's not going to be here for the long haul?
It does, I think, because it also like puts you in a position where, going forward, you are taking advantage of your quarterback's rookie contract window, and you don't need to fork another contract over a receiver because you're going to have that premium position taken care of, at least in part, with a guy who's a high first-round pick and is going to be under cost control for the next 4 years. And that'll allow you to spend more in other areas, primarily on defense. I think that makes sense. And, look, I don't think Keenan Allen's done. I think, he could have 3, 4, 5 more years left. Now generally, receivers decline at the age that he's at, and I know the history of it. I just sort of view him as like Larry Fitzgerald, where if you look at Larry, what was amazing about him was he was this dominant outside receiver, and then he sort of was such a smart, resourceful, hardworking player that he was able to reinvent himself later in his career as a slot receiver, a big, powerful slot receiver. I could see Keenan Allen kind of going through a similar transformation where he's able to find a different way to contribute and, be a guy who's there long-term for the Bears. And, if you have DJ Moore and then, another younger player there, it doesn't necessarily need to be a first-rounder, but you have another younger player there, well, then you can sort of transition Keenan Allen down the line where he can, find a role that's more suitable as he gets older. So I do think it does make sense, and look, I'm not a guy who, thinks you need the best receiver group in the league to win a championship. I think history tells you don't if you've got the quarterback position right. But I do think it's a good idea to use resources to try to make sure you're taking advantage of having your quarterback on a rookie contract and giving him all the support he needs and would need to be successful early on.
In terms of Marvin Harrison, so he only made 30 visits to Arizona and Chicago from what I've heard. And there was a tweet about that the other day, and it said, well, he either wants to play with Kyler Murray or Caleb Williams. And Carl Williams retweeted that. And I looked at it and went, that's interesting. So to go from 9 to, let's call it 4 with Arizona, and you want Marvin Harrison.
Yeah.
If you gave up the Carolina number 2 pick next year, is that enough?
No, not even close. The Cardinals are driving a hard bargain on that. And if New England decides to stick at 3 and take a quarterback, then the value of that pick at 4 goes through the roof.
Yep.
Everything I've gathered over the last week, 2 weeks, Monty Ossenfort is the general manager there for the Cardinals, is holding teams at gunpoint. It's not going to be easy to get up there. Now maybe he comes off of that as you get closer to the draft, but I know it's not going to be easy to get there. I think the Chargers might be a little bit more amenable to moving, and that could wind up working out for you. Because if you look at it, and I think Minnesota's obviously going to play a part in this too. But as long as J.J. McCarthy is on the board, then I think the price of 4, 5, the rest of those picks is going to remain high. If J.J. comes off the board at 4, then I think that hurts the value of the 5th pick a little bit, and then the Chargers have a decision to make on what they're willing to take there.
Any chance J.J. goes top 3?
Yeah. What happened?
Any chance J.J. slides in the top 3?
I think right now the likelihood is that does not happen. I think right now the likelihood is Jaden goes 2 to Washington, and if I had to guess, Drake May goes 3 to either New England, the Giants, or the Vikings. I think if New England decides not to take Drake, they may trade down and then try to trade back up to go and get JJ. I think right now the likelihood is probably that Drake May goes third overall, whether it's New England or somebody else.
There you have it. Albert, as always, we appreciate it. Thanks for coming on today.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Have a good
You're
one.
the best.